Hey there, my name is Alex and this is my review of Game of Thrones Season 4, Episode 7, Mockingbird. As always, this will have spoilers for the episode and the corresponding book chapters, blah blah blah, you know what to do if you've not seen it. First things first, in vaguely related news, I realised that Littlefinger might have made a better thumbnail for this episode, but, well, there's only 10 episodes and I wanted a picture of my favourite character, Jaime. That said, let's talk about this episode, shall we? You know, I think I enjoyed it more than the last one, and probably the one before that too. But, as usual, there are some things I take issue with, which I'll address soon. In fact, let's start with that, shall we? As my neighbour mows his lawn very loudly. First thing that caught me by surprise, and an unpleasant one, I must add, was the sudden and random inclusion of Rorge and Biter. In fact, that whole scene happened so fast that I barely recognised who they were until it was too late. Now, I know what you're thinking, Alex, you just hate it because it's different to the books, and no, that's not strictly true. I dislike it because it came out of nowhere. Seriously, out of nowhere. Biter literally flash-stepped behind the Hound, he used instant transmission, he used stealth mode, whatever. He popped up out of nowhere. And remember how they were locked away with, what's his name, Jack and... 3 of them locked away because they were dangerous, more so than the other people who were going to the Night's Watch. You know, more so than the rapists and the thieves. 3 of them locked away, and then 2 of them get taken out in seconds, 1 of them by a girl. Yeah, I know that Arya had the element of surprise and she kind of just randomly stabbed him, but it seems stupid to me. Yes, it is different from the books, and it means that a certain character is going to be robbed of an extremely dramatic scene later on. Unless we get another Riverlands thug who likes biting people. Or unless they get brought back to life by something, I don't know. Yeah, the end of that scene was just comical to me, how they popped up out of nowhere, had a few lines of dialogue and then died. I've noticed a few scenes in Game of Thrones have terrible pacing like that, and the characters are incapable of noticing what is happening around them, despite standing out in the open. The Dany scenes, though, I'm not sure if I disliked them or not. You know, I dislike Dany, but that's not the same as disliking the show, you know? For comparison's sake, Joffrey is a little bastard, he really is a bastard, but I enjoy his scenes because his actor was great. Dany is... well, her actor's not very good in my opinion, but that wasn't really the focus of the scene, you know? What stood out to me more was the fact she was acting like a sexually depraved old man. Why on earth is she attracted to bland new Daario? What is it that attracts her to him? I genuinely cannot understand. Those of you who have read the books know that Daario in that is a complete ponce. He has dyed hair, a ridiculous beard, and he wears outlandish clothes in outlandish colours, and he's, well, he's a dandy. But he swaggers, he has charisma, he's an alpha male. Dany isn't attracted to his looks, it's something more raw and animal, it's the charisma that attracts her to him in the books. But what about the show? The actor is good looking, sure, but Jorah's good looking too. In fact, Daario looks like he could pass for Jorah's son or younger brother. They were even wearing similar clothes. Maybe you can say that she's attracted to him because he's like a younger Jorah. That's not really a big issue. The age discrepancy between Dany and Jorah isn't, like, so great in this show. It doesn't really come off as all that creepy. Especially if you consider the time frame of this setting, even though it is fictional, you know. I can't really understand what attracts her to him either way. And as we obviously can't get inside her head, we probably won't know. Likewise, they haven't even given us a silly scene where she talks to Missandei and goes, "Ooh, Mr. Daario," and explains what she likes about him. And then she randomly goes, "Yo, take your clothes off," like she's a horny old man. Sorry, but no, that was poorly written and poorly directed. Literally zero chemistry between them. And this Daario is not a swaggering alpha male. He's just like a nice looking guy with not much personality. The previous one from season 3, yeah, I could see it with him. As punchable a face as he had, he suited the role far better. Finally, the ending of the episode. I liked most of it, with the exception of the very end. And yes, I'm afraid I have to draw comparisons to the book here, oh no. You see, in the books, a singer is present when Lysa goes skydiving, and thus makes the perfect scapegoat, the perfect escape for Littlefinger, who blames it on him. But he was absent in the show, which means he has nobody to pin the blame on. When the angry lords of the Vale come a-knocking, who are they going to blame? Because they have no one there but, you know, Littlefinger and his bastard daughter. Who's not actually his bastard daughter, but whatever. And it means we're either going to get some silly excuse or he'll magic up someone to serve that role. And really, how hard would it have been to have an extra just standing in the room in the corner? Second, and this is less of a problem, they changed a rather iconic line for no purpose, as far as I can see. The original line is, I've only ever loved one woman, ... only cat, or something to that effect. But for some reason they changed only cat to your sister. I can't understand why. The original line has far more impact and is plainly better written. The only possible explanation for why I can imagine is that they assumed people wouldn't know or remember who Cat was. It's funny, I saw people joking about this months ago. That Littlefinger would go, I've only ever loved one woman, your sister, Catelyn Stark, Sansa's mother, at times called Cat for short. And that is pretty much what they did do. I mean, saying only Cat and then changing it to your sister, it's still confusing. If people don't know who Cat is, they're probably not going to know who her sister is either. I mean, sure, they mentioned it like an episode or two ago, but hey, you evidently think that the people who watch this show are stupid, so might as well go all the way. But hey, that's not a huge issue. Ultimately, changing it from only Cat to your sister isn't that important, but it's a dumb, stupid change, in my opinion. But the lack of the singer? Yeah, that is a stupid problem, and it's a big problem, and it could have been easily fixed. Maybe they will show in the next episode that he was present all along, but off camera. That would be kind of bizarre, but hey, it's better than nothing. Other than that, I thought the scene was alright. Littlefinger's acting has been a little weird the last 2 seasons, but he wasn't too hammy in these scenes, I thought. I just kind of wish he would stop growling or whatever he's doing. I think he needs to start speaking normally. He's been doing a lot of like, Sansa, the Game of Thrones chaos is a ladder, she didn't fly so good. Anyway, that was a fairly lengthy sequence between Melisandre and Selyse, wasn't it? Stannis Baratheon's wife, by the way. And I'm not really sure what I was meant to get out of it, but I didn't enjoy it and I didn't hate it. It was just, you know, kind of okay. I just want to mention that when it ended, I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to take away from it. Still, I guess for people who have only watched the show, you do learn something new. You learn that Melly relies on tricks and the like now and then with all those little, what would you call them, spices or whatever. She throws crap in the fire and she makes big explosions and stuff. Which is an important piece of information for her character, and one that we wouldn't normally learn until much later. But it's also kind of implied from her very nature. But why now? Why put that scene in now? Does it have any direct relevance to an upcoming scene? Not as far as I'm aware, because the only thing that she really has left to do this season is, well, KFC. I think it would have been, I mean, in the books, we learn of that at a time where it is relevant, but, well, let's wait and see, I suppose. Another scene I was indifferent to, the Mountain That Rides version 3.0 and his reintroduction. It was so clumsy. He's a big evil man. What's the best way to show that? Well, let's have him half naked and stabbing people. Yes, that is literally the only way you can show someone being big and evil, especially someone who isn't even really an actor. You know what would have worked better? Maybe having a scene earlier in the season wherein Gregor and his boys enact one of those horrible stories that are only mentioned in the books, involving poor innkeeps and their daughters. In fact, there is a certain story involving Gregor Clegane, an innkeep and the innkeep's daughter, that would work perfectly for this, I feel. It's not like these episodes have been pushing at the limits when it comes to squeezing stuff in, is it? They could easily have cut out some filler from an earlier episode and slipped that scene in instead. Instead of just showing Gregor butchering some random peasants in the middle of the capital city, stupid. And all this happens an episode before his big fight, how convenient. I guess I wasn't as indifferent about it as I thought, now that I think about it. Still, this mountain is way better than the Season 2 mountain who was the beanpole that rides. Granted, this new guy is like 20 years younger than the Hound's actor, who is supposed to be younger, but whatever. He also has a completely different accent, but let's not focus on that, eh? Jon's scene was fine, I suppose. I did laugh at how he literally said the exact opposite of what he wanted to do in the books. Let's flood the tunnels! And in the books, when Bowen Marsh suggests that exact same thing to him, he's like, are you for real? Are you stupid? Do you have brain problems, Bowen? It's not a problem, because at this point it has no real bearing on stuff, and it only served to explain some plot points to us. But I just found it amusing, and I kind of think old Alistair Thorne is going to go the path of a certain blacksmith, who is absent in the show. So, moving on to scenes I liked, well, the Brienne and Podrick scene was kind of nice, with old Hot Pie making his appearance. Apparently he's leveled up his ability to bake crap. Yeah. But my favourite scene of the episode were the Tyrion and Jaime scene and the Tyrion and Oberyn scene. I actually think Tyrion's actor did better this episode than last episode. One of the hardest things for an actor to do, in my opinion, is to act with their face alone. When Oberyn was telling his little tale about his visit to Casterly Rock when Tyrion was newly born, the camera remained on Tyrion for long stretches, wherein we got to see his reactions. I think he did a good job, don't you? But more than that, Oberyn really stole that scene. I'm actually surprised at how much I'm liking this actor. When he was cast, I was a little skeptical, as he wasn't what I had in mind, but he's won me over. I think he's a great Oberyn. Unfortunately, I don't think they've made the most out of him, and some of his scenes have been poorly written and not given him the chance to shine. Still, I think he's nailed the part, and I really liked his scene this episode. In fact, I'd say it was my favourite part of the episode, and one of my favourite parts of the season. Kind of a shame, really. Still, next week, we'll get to see him face off against the Mountain. As the title of next episode indeed suggests, The Mountain and the Viper. Judging from the preview, one of Oberyn's best lines is retained. "You are going to fight that?" asks his paramour. His response? "I am going to kill that." Place your bets now, Mountain or Viper. Who is gonna win? I wonder.